but about 5 minutes ago, say tickets on sale now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to attend the WNBA draft presented by State Streets Spy. So the tickets are going on sale. Now the draft is scheduled for April the 13th, and it looked like it will be held in New York City at 7 p.m. So all of these young ladies that's in college will finally get their opportunity to do something they love to do, and that is play in the WNBA. Now, the WNBA caption.
Several developments are emerging from the WNBA world, covering everything from draft preparations to Caitlin Clark's photography side hobby, along with fresh details surrounding this year's CBA situation. The WNBA has been steadily releasing updates throughout the week regarding how the upcoming season will get underway. An announcement confirmed that the expansion draft is set for April 3rd at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Shortly after, the league also announced that tickets are now available for the main draft event, scheduled for April 13th in New York City at 7 p.m.
Caitlin Clark posts, a photographer fit for a king. A lot of people kind of felt the type of way about it. Let's check out some of these comments. Somebody said, no, wow, king and queen of basketball. Great job, CC. Love the look on her face. Admin, you knew. Hopefully they don't replace you for posting about CC. Wow. Everyone's surprised y'all posted CC knowing how y'all feel about her. Nothing with y'all is genuine and authentic. Y'all only post her because the world is posting her. The WNBA hire.
That occasion will mark the moment many college players finally step into the professional game. Separately, the WNBA's official account shared content connected to Caitlin Clark's appearance as a film photographer courtside at a Lakers versus Pacers matchup, captioning the post with the phrase "a photographer fit for a king." Reactions in the comments were mixed. Some expressed surprise that the account posted about Clark at all, questioning whether the recognition was genuine or simply driven by the wider public conversation around her.
WNBA hired new social media admin. I feel like she probably had this as a major in college. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? That is a good question, like what Caitlin Clark actually majored in college. Kind of relevant now. But shifting gears here, man, we got Stephanie White on ESPN making some comments about Caitlin Clark, bro. And we finna jump right into this thing. Let's play it. Let's listen.
Set as she was sitting on the baseline of the Lakers-Pacers game. She was a
Others offered straightforward praise for the photos and Clark's skill behind the lens. Stephanie White, now working as a broadcaster for ESPN, was asked on air whether she knew Clark had photography as a serious interest. White confirmed she was well aware, sharing that Clark regularly carried her camera throughout the previous season, including during warm-ups before a game held in Baltimore.
Of the Lakers-Pacers game, she was a photographer. Look at these pictures. Did you know she had this skill set, Steph?
Hey, she's really talented. And unfortunately, Caitlin was off the floor a lot last season. So yes. I did know that she had this skill set because she had her camera with her everywhere that she went. I remember in particular, we were playing at Washington. We were playing the game in Baltimore. And she was over there throughout warm-ups just taking pictures. She had a great shot of me and my kids as well. And she has that with her everywhere. So she's got a budding career in photography.
Well,
White recalled Clark capturing a photo of her alongside her children during that stretch. The clip also served as a clear indicator that White has fully transitioned into her broadcasting role, stepping away from coaching responsibilities with the Indiana Fever. On the broader league front, commentary from those close to the sport has pointed to structural issues that existed within the WNBA's previous operating model.
Well, we also know she has a good eye, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We're looking forward to your call. It's going to be you, Courtney, Chris, Violet, all on that South Carolina-Oklahoma game Saturday at 5 on ESPN. Steph, have a great weekend. Enjoy, and thank you as always.
So for all the people that was in the comments section a while ago kind of wondering, is this for real? Is Stephanie Wright really stepping away from the team? You'll go your answer right there, bro.
The prior television deal was seen as insufficient to properly sustain league operations despite growing viewership numbers, and the financial obligations owed back to the NBA created additional strain. The newly agreed CBA is being viewed as a turning point, not solely because of improved salaries, but also due to gains around pension plans for retired players, maternity protections, and roster security for players who are pregnant. These provisions had been long-standing concerns within the league.
Here, bro. She has definitely started a new job. Well, not new, but like I said, a lot of people definitely feel a type of way about Stephanie White not coaching the team, especially coming off everything we went through in these last couple of months, how last season went. It's very questionable, the decision she's making as a coach. I understand her wanting to get her money off the court. Some fans might feel like it's a good thing, that Stephanie White is actually doing these said things. Now,
WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has received recognition for her business background and contributions to the league's growth. At the same time, there is discussion around what leadership could look like further down the road, with names like Nneka Ogwumike coming up as examples of players who possess both the educational foundation and lived experience to one day take on a role of that scale. A point raised in that conversation is that unlike many NBA players, WNBA athletes overwhelmingly hold college degrees, giving them a broader base from which to step into leadership and business roles after their playing careers.
Doing these said things. Now, something else that we have to talk about here is more information coming out about the WNBA, everything that went down behind the scenes. Let's pull it up right now. Let's roll.
I mean, it's so cool to see the business side of it all. Like, I've always been an optimistic person, and I've always been like, oh no, these athletes are worth the attention, the TV deals. But I just needed the business model to follow. And
as for the off-season leagues like Unrivaled and Project Boardroom, their futures become more nuanced now that the CBA has addressed compensation more directly. Unrivaled in particular has been cited as a model for what women's basketball can look like when proper investment is applied. Players also hold equity stakes in the league, giving them a financial reason to stay invested in its success.
Deals, but I just needed the business model to follow. And I honestly think like the business model that the WNBA was operating in, it was just kind of doomed from the start, owing the NBA so much money, or like just the prior TV deal not being lucrative enough to fund the whole league when the views are there. And so I think it's amazing to see them finally get not just paid. There's so many other things other than just the pay that is huge. I mean, even like the pensions and the stuff for retirement.
Caitlin Clark's absence from those leagues has been noted, with endorsement income cited as a likely factor since her earnings outside of WNBA salary reduce the financial necessity of off-season play. Whether top players continue to participate in those leagues going forward remains an open question, though their value for player development and conditioning is still seen as relevant regardless of the CBA outcome. There may be some unwelcome developments on the horizon for WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert.
All this is said and done. Now, she did just negotiate this entire new CBA, but one could argue the deal should have been closed sooner. But my God, look at the kind of league that this woman has to deal with. I mean, seriously, she's probably in therapy dealing with some of these women that are in this league, right? Continuously angry.
Despite a somewhat rocky relationship with a portion of the league's fan base, there is a growing sentiment that Engelbert deserves more credit than she typically receives. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver recently described himself as non-committal regarding Engelbert's future in the position, a statement that raises questions about where things are headed. The timing is notable.
This league, right? Continuously angry, disgruntled. I mean, imagine this, folks. You got about, out of all the players in this league, you got about 30 or 40 Natasha Cloud types that this commissioner has had to deal with. Put that in your brain and let that percolate in there for a while. And you realize, hey, this commissioner may be a little thicker skinned than we gave her credit for.
Engelbert just wrapped up a hard-fought round of CBA negotiations, delivering a new agreement that secures labor stability heading into 2026. Some observers have pointed out that the deal could have been finalized earlier, but context matters here. Running a league with a vocal, frequently discontented player pool is no small task.
Well, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert just finished negotiations to ensure the league has a new collective bargaining agreement in time for 2026 to start without delays. Her future in the role is unclear for now. Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, who hired her, could not say whether she would remain in the job after this season. Engelbert has been in the role since.
Picture managing several dozen players who operate at the emotional temperature of the most outspoken figures in women's basketball that gives a clearer picture of the environment Engelbert has navigated on a daily basis. When Silver was directly asked whether Engelbert would still hold the commissioner title after the upcoming season, he declined to confirm it. His remarks were careful. The WNBA board hadn't discussed the matter yet, and he hadn't spoken with Engelbert recently about her own future plans.
Engelbert has been in the role since 2019 and has led the league during a period of tremendous growth for the WNBA through 2 CBA negotiations, but she also has faced significant critiques. Quote, "We haven't had those discussions yet with the WNBA board," Silver said Wednesday, when asked if Engelbert would be commissioner after the upcoming season. Quote,
At the same time, Silver stopped short of criticism. He acknowledged that the numbers under her watch are difficult to argue with. Franchise valuations climbed, player salaries increased substantially, and the league grew by 6 new teams through expansion. The results speak for themselves, Silver noted.
Season. Quote, "I would always say Kathy's done a fantastic job since she's come to the WNBA. Obviously, you can see just in the results, but I haven't had those discussions recently with Kathy, even in terms of her future plans and how long she wants to do this. She has a storied career before she came to the WNBA with Delate, but I want to say the results speak for themselves. Franchise value."
Still, Engelbert has absorbed consistent fire from players throughout her tenure. Minnesota Lynx forward Nafisa Collier publicly called her out in September, and several other players followed up with their own pointed remarks. Whether those complaints represent the broader locker room mood or a vocal minority is genuinely hard to measure.
For themselves. Franchise valuations and players' salaries rose during Engelbert's tenure, and the league added 6 franchises through expansion, but she also has taken steady stream of criticism from the league's players and its fans. Some of its fans. Minnesota Lynx star Nafisa Collier publicly rebuked in her September, and other players voiced their support in Collier's comment. Yeah, but
it's worth noting that some of the loudest criticism has come from a relatively small group, and leagues with contentious CBA negotiations tend to produce that kind of friction regardless of how negotiations ultimately land. There is also a broader dynamic at play. League commissioners are ultimately accountable to ownership, not to players.
Voiced their support in Collier's comment. Yeah, but the problem is you got a whole league full of disgruntled individuals. So what do you really know? Like, what do you believe here? All right, what do you believe here? You know, there's suspicion around her Collier's comments in relation to Caitlin Clark. Everybody remember that? I'm just pointing it out. Adam Silver, however, has been pleased.
Viewed through that lens, Engelbert's approach, described by critics as unwilling to simply accommodate player demands, might actually reflect exactly what her employers wanted. The new CBA delivered significantly higher salaries, expanded revenue sharing.
Has been pleased with where the league has gone. The WNBA completed a new CBA earlier this month with substantially boosted salaries, improved revenue sharing, provide labor peace for at least 6 seasons. Quote, "I'm very happy," Silver said, "and I know the ownership is very happy with where things stand in the WNBA." I don't know. It would be hard to retain a commissioner that...
The question of whether a commissioner can survive sustained player opposition, even while delivering strong business results, remains an open one. Engelbert's record since 2019 suggests a league that grew considerably on nearly every measurable front. Whether that track record is enough to secure her position beyond the 2026 season is something only the WNBA board can ultimately decide.